The coffee in Commander Jake Morrison's cup had gone cold hours ago, but he kept sipping it anyway. The deep space monitoring station Cerberus floated silently in the darkness, far from any star or planet. Jake had been running this place for 8 years now, watching empty space and listening to cosmic noise. Most days nothing happened. He liked it that way. Lieutenant Amy Brooks sat at her communication station, headphones covering her ears. She was young, only 28, and still believed they might discover something amazing out here. Jake thought she would learn better with time. Space was big and mostly empty. The chances of finding anything interesting were tiny. "Commander," Amy called out, pulling off her headphones. "I'm getting something weird on the long-range receivers." Jake looked up from his reports. "Weird how?" "It's not natural. Too organized, too regular. Someone is sending it." Chief Engineer Pete Carter looked up from his workbench where he was fixing a broken scanner. Pete was older than Jake, with gray hair and hands stained with engine oil. He had been working on space stations since before Jake was born. "Could be pirates," Pete said. "They use old frequencies sometimes." Amy shook her head. "No, this is different. The pattern is too complex, and it's coming from really far away, outside human space." Jake felt his stomach tighten. In 8 years, they had never received a signal from outside human territory. He walked over to Amy's station and looked at the readouts. The signal was weak, but definitely artificial. "How far outside?" he asked. "At least 50 light years. Maybe more." "Doctor." Lisa Grant emerged from her small laboratory at the back of the station. She was a xenobiologist, someone who studied alien life. So far, she had not had much to study. Humans had found bacteria and simple plants on other worlds, but nothing that could build radios. "Did someone say alien signal?" Lisa asked, wiping her hands on a towel. "Maybe," Jake said. "Amy, can you clean it up? Make it clearer?" Amy's fingers danced over her controls. The static cleared a little, and they could hear a pattern in the noise. It repeated every few minutes, the same sequence of sounds over and over. "It's definitely a message," Amy said. "Someone is trying to talk." Lisa pushed past Jake and stared at the displays. Her eyes were wide with excitement. "This is it. This is what we've been waiting for. First contact." Jake was not as excited as Lisa. His job was to keep everyone safe, and unknown signals from alien worlds sounded dangerous. "Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We don't know what it is yet." For the next 6 hours, the team worked to decode the signal. Lisa used every computer program she had to analyze the patterns. Amy boosted the signal strength and filtered out the noise. Pete kept the station's power systems running at maximum capacity. Finally, Lisa made a breakthrough. "I think I've got the basic structure," she said. "It's mathematical at first, showing they understand numbers, then it gets more complex." "What does it say?" Jake asked. Lisa frowned at her screen. "I need more time. But I think they're asking for help." Over the next day, more pieces of the message became clear. Lisa worked without sleeping, drinking coffee and staring at alien mathematics. The message was long and detailed, clearly from a species that had been trying to communicate for a while. "They call themselves the Cathara," Lisa announced to the group. "They're traders and scholars, peaceful people who travel between stars, selling knowledge and art." Amy leaned forward in her chair. "What do they want?" Lisa's face was grim. "They're being attacked. Another species called the Vex Collective is destroying their worlds. The Cathara have no weapons, no way to fight back. They're dying." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. "How many of them?" "Their homeworld has about 40 million people. The message says half are already dead." Pete whistled low. 20 million people." Lisa continued reading from her translation. "They've heard stories about us, about humans. They know we come from what they call a death world, a planet so dangerous that we learn to fight to survive. They're begging us to help them." "What do they offer in return?" Jake asked. It was a practical question, but he needed to know. Everything. Their entire planetary treasure, all their knowledge, all their art. "They say they will be our servants forever if we just save their children." The command center of Cerberus fell silent. Outside the windows, stars twinkled in the darkness, cold and distant. Somewhere out there, an entire species was dying while Earth slept unaware. Amy broke the silence. "We have to help them." Jake shook his head. "It's not that simple. We're just a monitoring station. We don't have warships or soldiers, and Earth Command has strict rules about contacting alien species. So we let them die because of paperwork?" Amy's voice was angry. "I didn't say that." Jake walked to the window and stared out at space. "But we can't just rush in without thinking. We don't know anything about this Vex collective. They might be too strong for us." Lisa pulled up more data on her screen. "I've been analyzing what the Kythera say about the Vex. They're raiders who travel from system to system, destroying everything they find. They don't just steal resources. They kill for pleasure." "Like space pirates?" Pete asked. "Worse. Pirates want treasure. The Vex seem to enjoy wiping out entire species. The Kythera message mentions 12 other races that have gone extinct in the last century." Jake turned back to his crew. These 3 people had been with him for years. Amy with her idealism and quick mind. Pete with his steady hands and practical wisdom. Lisa with her brilliant intelligence and curiosity about the universe. He trusted them more than anyone. "The nearest Earth Navy ship is 3 weeks away," he said. "By the time we send a message and get approval to help, the Kythera will be extinct." "Then we don't wait for approval," Amy said quietly. Jake looked at her. "That would be mutiny, court-martial, end of all our careers." "Better than letting 20 million people die," Pete said. The old engineer had been quiet, but now his voice was firm. "I've got grandchildren on Earth. I want them to grow up in a galaxy where humans help people who need it." Lisa nodded. "The Kythera are scholars like me. They study the universe and create beautiful things. If we let them die, we lose all that. Knowledge forever." Jake closed his eyes and thought. Command would be furious. There would be investigations and trials. But Amy was right. 20 million lives were more important than their careers. He opened his eyes and looked at his crew. "Pete, how long to get the emergency beacon ready?" Pete smiled. "Give me 2 hours." "Amy, send a message to the Kythera. Tell them help is coming." "What should I tell them about humans?" Amy asked. Jake thought about Earth, with its storms and earthquakes, its predators and diseases. He thought about human history, full of wars and struggles. Humanity had learned to survive by being tough, by fighting when they had to, by never giving up. "Tell them we're on our way," he said. "And tell them that when humans make a promise, we keep it." The crew of Cerberus worked through the night, preparing their message for Earth Command and sending coordinates to the fastest response ship in the sector. Soon, the galaxy would learn what happened when someone threatened innocent people within reach of humanity. The Vex Collective was about to discover why Earth was called a death world. The battlecruiser Valkyrie cut through space like a knife through darkness. It was the fastest warship in the sector, built for quick response missions. Captain Ryan Bell stood on the bridge, watching the stars streak past as they traveled at maximum speed toward Kythera space. 3 days had passed since they received the distress call from monitoring station Cerberus. Earth Command had been furious about the unauthorized contact with aliens, but they could not ignore 20 million lives in danger. The Valkyrie was their answer. Ryan was 38 years old and had been fighting in space for 15 years. His face was hard, marked by old scars from battles most people preferred to forget. He did not smile often, and his crew respected him for his skill, not his warmth. "How long until we reach the Kythera system?" he asked. Lieutenant Ben Clark, the ship's pilot, checked his instruments. Ben was young, only 26, but he could fly anything with engines. 18 days at current speed, sir." Ryan nodded. 18 days to prepare for a battle against an unknown enemy. It would have to be enough. Commander Alex Stone, the first officer, walked over to Ryan's command chair. Alex was 42, calm and careful where Ryan was aggressive. They had served together for 5 years and trusted each other completely. "The crew is asking questions," Alex said quietly. "They want to know what we're flying into." Tell them the truth, Ryan replied. We're going to fight aliens who kill for fun. Some of us might not come home. Dr. Lisa Grant had been transferred to the Valkyrie to serve as their alien expert. She spent most of her time in the ship's computer center, studying everything they knew about both the Cathara and the Vex Collective. What she found worried her. Captain, she said, approaching Ryan with a datapad. I've been analyzing the Cathara transmissions. The situation is worse than we thought. Ryan took the pad and looked at the information. How much worse? The Vex don't just attack and leave. They stay in each system for months, hunting down every survivor. They use special scanners to find people hiding underground or in space stations. No one escapes. Sergeant Kate Murphy, the leader of the ship's Marine squad, had been listening from across the bridge. Kate was 31, tough as steel, and completely loyal to anyone she considered worth protecting. She walked over to join the conversation. How many Vex ships are we talking about? Kate asked. Lisa checked her notes. The last Cathara message mentioned 12 warships in orbit around their homeworld. Each one is bigger than the Valkyrie. Ben whistled from his pilot station. 12 against 1. Those are terrible odds. Humans have faced worse, Ryan said. His voice was quiet, but everyone on the bridge could hear him. The Vex think they're hunters. They're about to learn what real predators look like. Ryan had not told his crew about his past, but Alex knew the story. 7 years ago, Ryan had been a commander on the colony ship Proxima Dawn. Pirates had attacked the defenseless colonists, killing 3,000 people, including Ryan's wife and daughter. Ryan had been one of only 50 survivors. Since that day, Ryan had devoted his life to protecting innocent people from those who would hurt them. The Vex Collective reminded him too much of the pirates who had destroyed his family. Over the next week, the crew of the Valkyrie prepared for battle. The ship's weapons were cleaned and tested. The Marines practiced boarding techniques and close combat fighting. Everyone studied the limited information they had about Vex technology and tactics. Dr. Lisa Grant made an important discovery while analyzing alien communications. She called Ryan to the computer center, excitement in her voice. I've been listening to Vex radio chatter, she said. They're not very careful about hiding their messages. I think I understand how they fight. Ryan looked at the data on her screen. Tell me. They're bullies. They only attack species that can't fight back. Their tactics are simple because they've never faced real resistance. They surround a planet, demand surrender, then kill everyone anyway. What about their ships? Big and heavily armed, but slow. They rely on fear and overwhelming firepower. I don't think they've ever had to outmaneuver an enemy. This was good news. The Valkyrie was smaller than a Vex warship, but it was much faster and more maneuverable. Ryan began to form a plan. Sergeant Kate Murphy spent her time preparing the Marine squad for ground combat. 43 of the toughest soldiers in the Earth Navy, trained to fight in any environment. They practiced using Vex weapons captured from old battles and learned to fight in the low gravity of alien worlds. The Cathara are counting on us, Kate told her Marines. We're probably the only thing standing between them and extinction. I don't plan to let them down. Lieutenant Ben Clark used the flight time to study Vex ship designs. He found their weaknesses and practiced attack patterns that would exploit them. Ben had grown up playing video games and racing hover cars. To him, space combat was just a more dangerous version of the games he loved. Their ships are built like fortresses, he told Ryan. Strong armor, but they turn like drunk elephants. If we can stay behind them, they'll never hit us. Commander Alex Stone worried about the bigger picture. Even if they saved the Cathara, what would happen next? Earth would be exposed to hostile aliens who might decide to attack human worlds in revenge. We need to send a message, Alex told Ryan during one of their planning sessions. Not just to save the Cathara, but to show the galaxy that humans protect their friends. What kind of message? Ryan asked. Complete victory. We don't just drive the Vex away. We destroy them so thoroughly that other species will think twice before attacking innocent people. Ryan liked this idea. Mercy was a luxury they could not afford when dealing with species that murdered children for entertainment. 2 weeks into their journey, they received another transmission from Cathara Prime. Dr. Grant translated it with tears in her eyes. Only 3 million Kithra are still alive, she reported. They're hiding in underground cities, but the Vex are digging them out. The message says the children are starving. The crew of the Valkyrie worked harder after hearing this news. Engineers pushed the engines beyond their safe limits, trying to arrive sooner. Weapons specialists loaded every missile and charged every energy cannon. Medical staff prepared for both human and alien casualties. Ryan spent long hours alone in his quarters, staring at a picture of his dead family. He had failed to protect them, but he would not fail the Kithera. The Vex Collective was about to learn why humans were the most dangerous species in the galaxy. On the final day of their journey, the crew gathered in the main briefing room. Ryan stood before them, his face serious, but determined. "Tomorrow we enter the Kithera system," he said. "We'll be outnumbered 12-1, fighting an enemy we've never seen before in a place we've never been. The odds are against us." He paused and looked at each member of his crew. "But we have something the Vex don't have. We come from Earth, a world that tried to kill us every day for millions of years. We learned to survive by being smarter, tougher, and more ruthless than anything that wanted to hurt us." Kate Murphy stood up. "What are our orders, sir?" Ryan's voice was cold as space. "Save the Kithera, destroy the Vex, show the galaxy what happens when someone threatens innocent people within reach of humanity." The crew of the Valkyrie prepared for battle, knowing they carried the hopes of an entire species on their shoulders. The Valkyrie dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Kithera system. Captain Ryan Bell stared at the main screen and felt his blood turn cold. 12 massive Vex warships hung in orbit around the planet like metal vultures. Each ship was 3 times larger than the Valkyrie. "My God," whispered Commander Alex Stone. "They're huge." Below the alien fleet, Kithera Prime burned. Cities that had stood for thousands of years were now smoking ruins. The blue-green world that should have been beautiful was covered in dark, scars where the Vex had destroyed everything they could find. Lieutenant Ben Clark ran his hands over the pilot controls. "They haven't seen us yet, we're still too far away." "Good," Ryan said. "Lisa, what can you tell me about those ships?" Dr. Lisa Grant worked frantically at her station, scanning the enemy vessels. "The designs match what we studied, but they're even bigger than I thought. Each one has enough firepower to destroy a city in minutes." Sergeant Kate Murphy studied the tactical display. "I count at least 50 smaller ships moving between the surface and the main fleet. Landing craft, bringing up prisoners or supplies." Ryan's jaw tightened. The Vex were not just attacking, they were harvesting, taking everything they wanted before killing the rest. "Captain," came a weak voice over the radio. It was the Kithara, speaking in broken English that Dr. Grant had taught them. "Human ship, we see you on our sensors. Please help us. The children, they are taking the children." Ryan closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, they were hard as diamonds. "Ben, take us in. Full speed. Sir, they'll see us." "Coming," Alex warned. "I want them to see us. Kate, get your Marines ready. We're going to board one of those ships." Kate grinned. "Which one, sir?" Ryan pointed at the largest Vex vessel, a massive black ship shaped like a dagger. "The flagship. We cut off the head and the body dies." The Valkyrie raced toward the enemy fleet. The human ship was small and fast, darting between the Vex vessels like a hunting hawk. At first, the aliens seemed confused. They had never seen a ship move so quickly. "They're trying to target us," Ben called out, his hands dancing over the controls. "But we're too fast. They can't get a lock." Ryan watched the tactical display as the Vex ships slowly began to turn toward them. The alien vessels moved like floating mountains, powerful but clumsy. Just as Dr. Grant had predicted. "Lisa, can I hear?" "You hacked their communications?" Ryan asked. "Already working on it," she replied. "Their security is terrible. They never expected anyone to fight back." Suddenly, Lisa's eyes went wide. "Captain, I'm picking up their internal communications. They're laughing at us. They think one small ship is a joke." "Let them laugh," Ryan said. "Ben, target their engines. I want that flagship dead in space." The Valkyrie swooped under the massive Vex flagship like a shark attacking a whale. Ben fired the ship's main weapons at the alien engines, punching holes in their armor. The huge ship shuddered but kept moving. Their armor is thick, Ben reported. We need to get closer. How close? Ryan asked. Ben smiled. Close enough to count their windows. The young pilot brought the Valkyrie so close to the enemy ship that they could see alien faces looking out at them in shock. The Vex had never fought an enemy crazy enough to fly directly at them. Kate and her Marines prepared for boarding action. They wore powered armor and carried weapons designed to work in space. Each Marine was trained to fight in zero gravity and hostile environments, remember, Kate told her squad over the radio. These aliens kill children for fun. Show them the same mercy they showed the Kythera. The Valkyrie attached to the Vex flagship like a parasite. Ben used the ship's cutting tools to burn through the alien hull. Within minutes, they had created a hole big enough for the Marines to enter. Kate led the boarding party into the enemy ship. The corridors were dark and filled with strange smells. The Vex had built their ship for intimidation, with sharp angles and threatening decorations everywhere. The first aliens they met were tall and thin, with pale skin and black eyes. They carried energy weapons but moved slowly as if they had never been in a real fight. Kate and her Marines cut through them like wolves through sheep. These guys are pathetic, one Marine reported over the radio. They run away when we shoot at them, but Kate knew better than to get overconfident. Stay alert, there might be tougher ones deeper in the ship. While the Marines fought inside the flagship, Ben flew the Valkyrie in circles around the other Vex ships. The human ship was too small and fast for their weapons to hit. Ben led them on a wild chase through the orbital space around Kythera Prime. I've got 3 ships following me, Ben reported. They're getting angry. Good, Ryan replied. Angry enemies make mistakes. Dr. Lisa Grant had managed to break into the Vex computer systems. What she found made her sick to her stomach. Ryan, they have detailed records of every species they've destroyed. Billions of innocent people killed just for entertainment. How many other species? Ryan asked. 47 in the last 200 years, all peaceful civilizations that never developed military technology. Ryan felt cold rage building in his chest. The Vex were not just raiders. They were the worst kind of predators, hunting those who could not fight back. Inside the flagship, Kate and her Marines had reached the command center. The Vex officers inside were larger than the common soldiers with better armor and weapons, but they had never faced humans in close combat. Kate fought the enemy commander, a huge alien with 4 arms and razor-sharp claws. The alien was strong and fast, but Kate had grown up on Earth where everything was dangerous. She had been in fights since she was old enough to walk. The alien commander fell, and Kate took control of the ship's bridge. Ryan, I've got their command center. What do you want me to do? Can you control their other ships from there? Ryan asked. Kate looked at the alien computers. Lisa, I need help reading these controls. Dr. Grant talked Kate through the Vex command. Systems. Within minutes, Kate had access to the entire enemy fleet. I can shut down their engines, Kate reported. Or maybe turn their weapons on each other. Do both, Ryan ordered. Kate's fingers moved over the alien controls. One by one, the Vex warships began to shut down. Their engines stopped working. Their weapons turned toward their own allies. The organized fleet became chaos. Some Vex ships tried to escape, but Ben was waiting for them. The Valkyrie darted between the fleeing vessels, destroying their engines and leaving them drifting helplessly in space. Tech specialist Rob Hayes had been quiet during the battle, but now his voice came over the radio with excitement. Captain, I've hacked their database. I have the locations of their other fleets, their bases, everything. How many more ships do they have? Ryan asked. About 200 scattered across the galaxy, but most are small raiding groups. Nothing like this. Main fleet. Ryan made a decision that would change the balance of power in the galaxy. Send the data to Earth Command. Tell them we need a full battle fleet out here. It's time to end the Vex Collective permanently. The battle for Kythera Prime was over. 12 Vex warships floated dead in space, their crews either killed or captured. The surviving Kythera emerged from their hiding places, hardly believing they were free. But Ryan knew this was just the beginning. Word would spread throughout the galaxy about what had happened here. Some species would be grateful, others would be afraid. All would know that humanity had announced itself as the galaxy's new protector. The age of peaceful exploration was over. The age of human dominance had begun. 3 weeks after the battle, Captain Ryan Bell stood in the ruins of what had once been the largest city on Kythera Prime. The buildings were broken and burned, but the Kythera people were already working to rebuild. They moved slowly and carefully, as if they still could not believe the nightmare was over. Elder Veltar approached Ryan with small, hesitant steps. The Kythera leader was old, with silver skin and large, kind eyes that had seen too much death. He carried a wooden staff covered in beautiful carvings that told the history of his people. "Captain Bell," the elder said in careful English, "we have prepared the ceremony you requested." Ryan nodded. The Valkyrie had lost 7 crew members in the battle. Good people who had died fighting to save strangers. They deserved to be remembered. "Doctor." Lisa Grant walked beside Ryan as they moved through the alien city. She had spent the last 3 weeks helping the Kythera survivors and learning about their culture. What she had discovered amazed her. "They're incredible," Lisa told Ryan quietly. "They've been exploring space for over 1,000 years, but they never developed weapons. They solved conflicts by talking and sharing knowledge." "How did they survive so long without weapons?" Ryan asked. "They were lucky. Most of the galaxy is peaceful. The Vex Collective only appeared about 200 years ago. Before that, species helped each other instead of fighting. They reached the center of the city where thousands of Kythera had gathered. The aliens were small and delicate, with thin bodies and graceful movements. Many still showed signs of their ordeal, missing limbs, scars, and eyes that jumped at sudden sounds. Elder Veltar raised his staff, and the crowd fell silent. When he spoke, his voice carried clearly across the square. "People of Kythera," he said, "we gathered today to honor the humans who saved our children. They came from far away, knowing nothing about us except that we needed help. They risked their lives for strangers." The crowd made a sound like wind through trees. Lisa had learned this was how the Kythera showed respect. Ryan stepped forward when the elder gestured to him. He was not comfortable with ceremonies, but these people had lost everything. If honoring the dead helped them heal, he would do it. "We lost 7 good people in this battle," Ryan said. "They died so your children could live. In human culture, there is no greater honor than dying to protect the innocent." Ambassador Maya Jones arrived on Kythera Prime 2 days later. She was 47 years old and had spent her career helping different species understand each other. This was her first assignment involving combat. "Captain Bell," Maya said as she stepped off her transport ship. "Earth Command is very interested in what happened here." Ryan met her at the landing pad. Behind him, Kythera workers were loading supplies onto human ships. The aliens had kept their promise to share their knowledge and treasure, but Ryan had insisted they keep most of it to rebuild their world. "What does Command want to know?" Ryan asked. "Everything. This is the first time humans have fought an interstellar war. The politicians are nervous about what comes next." Maya was right to be concerned. News of the battle had spread throughout the galaxy faster than anyone expected. Dozens of alien species were sending messages to Earth, some asking for help, others demanding explanations. Admiral Tim Foster arrived a week later with a full battle fleet. Tim was 55 years old and had been fighting in space longer than anyone in the human navy. He was tough, smart, and completely loyal to Earth. "Ryan," Tim said as they met in the Valkyrie's briefing room, "you've started something big. Half the galaxy wants to hire us as bodyguards. The other half thinks we're the new threat." "What about the Vex?" Ryan asked. "We've found and destroyed most of their remaining ships. The survivors are running scared, but there are other species out there just as bad. The galaxy is a dangerous place." Dr. Lisa Grant had been studying reports from across known space. She joined the meeting with a thick folder of documents. "I've been analyzing communications from 43 different species," she said. "The pattern is clear. Peaceful civilizations are being hunted by predator species. The Vex were just the biggest and most organized." Admiral Foster leaned back in his chair. "How many peaceful species are asking for help?" 17 so far. But the number is growing every day. Ryan looked out the window at Cathara Prime. The planet was healing, but slowly. It would take years to rebuild what the Vex had destroyed in months. We can't save everyone, Ryan said. We don't have enough ships or people. Maybe we don't need to save everyone, Admiral Foster replied. Maybe we just need to make the predators afraid to hunt. 3 months later, the Terran Response Fleet was officially created. It was smaller than Earth's main navy, but faster and more aggressive. Their mission was simple: protect innocent species from those who would destroy them. Ryan was promoted to admiral and given command of the new fleet. His first order was to recruit volunteers from across human space. The response was overwhelming. Thousands of people wanted to join the force that protected the innocent. Sergeant Kate Murphy became Colonel Kate Murphy and took charge of training the new Marine units. She built schools where humans learned to fight in alien environments and use captured enemy weapons. Lieutenant Ben Clark became Commander Ben Clark and started the Response Fleet's pilot training program. He taught young humans to fly like he did, fast, aggressive, and completely without fear. Dr. Lisa Grant became the fleet's chief alien affairs officer. She studied every species they encountered and helped humans understand the complex politics of galactic civilization. The first real test came 6 months later. A species called the Zephyrians sent a distress call. They were artists and musicians, completely peaceful, being attacked by raiders called the Blood Tide. Ryan led 3 ships to the Zephyrian system. The battle was quick and brutal. The Blood Tide had expected easy prey. Instead, they found humans who fought like demons and showed no mercy to those who killed children. Word spread even faster after the second battle. The galaxy began to understand what humans represented. They were the species that answered calls for help. They were the ones who fought battles that others could not win. But they were also the ones who never forgot an enemy or forgave a crime against the innocent. More species joined what became known as the Galactic Protection Alliance. The Cathara shared their knowledge of peaceful negotiation. Other species contributed technology, resources, and intelligence about threats. But everyone understood that humans were the sword of the alliance. When talking failed, when negotiation was impossible, humans were the ones who went to war. Ryan stood on the bridge of his flagship, the UTS Defender, and watched reports come in from across the galaxy. 12 species had asked for protection. In the last month, 3 predator groups had been destroyed. 2 more had surrendered rather than face human warships. Admiral, Commander Alex Stone said, approaching with the daily reports. The Galactic Council wants to meet with you next month. They're calling it the most important diplomatic event in galactic history. Ryan nodded. The Council represented over 100 peaceful species. They wanted to make the Protection Alliance official, with humans as the official peacekeepers of known space. What do you think, Alex? Ryan asked. Are we ready to be the galaxy's police force? Alex looked out at the stars. I think we don't have a choice. Someone has to protect the innocent. Might as well be us. Ryan thought about the Cathara children he had seen playing in the rebuilt cities. He thought about the 7 crew members who had died to save them. He thought about all the species out there who needed someone to stand between them and the darkness. Send a message to the Council, Ryan said. Tell them humanity accepts the responsibility. We'll be the shield that protects the weak and the sword that punishes the wicked. The age of human dominance in the galaxy had begun, and for the first time in centuries, innocent species could sleep safely, knowing that somewhere in the darkness, human ships were watching over them.